Skin cancer is cause for concern all year round, but especially during the summer months. So here to talk sun safety, we've got dermatologist Dr. Geeta Yadav joining us. So good to have you. Now, this whole segment came to be because our own Amanda Muse was recently diagnosed with skin cancer. So she's here today. Give her some love. She's in the audience. Usually she's up here with me. Before we get into your sun safety tips, I want to talk to you, Amanda, for a minute. Tell me about, or tell us all about your experience.
Right, so it was mid-pandemic. I had taken up running, I think like some people had, and I had got a blister under my breast and thought nothing of it. And then a couple months had gone by and I'm like, why is that blister still there? I went to my family doctor and she goes, you know, you could wait and go see your dermatologist, or we could take a biopsy right here now. So I was like, sure, no problem. 2 weeks later, I find out it's a basal cell carcinoma. I think when you hear skin cancer, you're like, what's happening? But it was one of like the better kinds of skin cancers to get, and within a month, I'd had it removed. But what's kind of surprising is like, here's something that's like the size of the tip of your pinky, and then ended up having a scar the length of your pinky. And I thought there was like all of this shame, like, you know, why did I get this skin cancer? What did I do? And I remembered, all right, I'm super fair. My dad is like freckly with red hair, and I'd worked in a tanning salon for a while. So it was like, you know, wore that like a badge of honor to be super tan when I was 19. So it happens.
Oh my gosh, we've all been there. Yeah, so that very interesting. And under the boob too, which is a little bit of a surprise because you're thinking it's not like you're running around like that.
I wasn't taught this tanning.
Right? Okay, so we want to talk about this. So what causes skin cancer? Who is most at risk here?
So the #1 cause for skin cancer is going to be ultraviolet radiation, so sun exposure. And as Amanda mentioned, her experience in tanning booths, you know, I like to tell people that the World Health Organization considers tanning booths a carcinogen. So even a single exposure to a tanning booth increases your risk of skin cancer. And so that's sort of a big no in my view, but it's something that wasn't regulated as well when Amanda was younger. The other risk factors are, of course, some things you can't control as well, being fair-skinned, having light-colored eyes. And the thing, though, is that I think we conventionally understand those to be risk factors for skin cancer. However, even people with more melanated skin, you and me, brown and black women, are at risk of skin cancer. And that's because our pigmented skin maybe gives us about an SPF of 8. So it's not sort of the equivalent of you can go out without sunscreen.
Right.
And the most famous example I have is Bob Marley. You know, he died of a melanoma on his toe.
Right, freckly, moly. Also, SPF 8, I want my money back. I thought we were at least a 30. You only get an 8 for having melanated skin, so we all have to worry about it. So I want to talk about what cancer looks like, what it feels like, because Amanda's story, that could be any of us. How do we check for it?
So the two most common types of skin cancer are melanoma and non-melanoma skin cancers. And Amanda had a non-melanoma skin cancer, which is a little bit lower risk in that they tend not to travel. They can, you know, to other sites of the body. The Bob Marley story is a melanoma, and those can rapidly progress and really cause morbidity and mortality. They can kill people.
So the difference between melanoma and basal cell, what are the difference?
So melanoma is what you think of that new spot, maybe dark, a bit irregular, commonly occurring on the back or on the legs. And a basal cell skin cancer tends to occur in a sun-exposed site. They look kind of pearly, maybe pinky. You know, she describes a blister, so they can have a rounded border and a bit of a central dell in the center. And they are much more common. They are typically just cut out and that's the end of the story, but you have to diagnose them. And until you do that, they just keep growing. So anything that is growing or changing over a 3 to 6 month period, that's my big advice to patients. Make sure you get that checked out.
If it changes at all, shape, texture, anything about it.
Size.
Do you go to a dermatologist? Do you go to your family doctor?
Definitely see your family doctor first.
All right.
And I would say most dermatologists, if the family doctor can write on that referral, this is urgent, we'll figure it out. You know, that is a helpful piece of information, and we'll see those patients really quickly.
Let's talk about protecting ourselves. So there's a lot we can do in terms of clothing we can wear and sunscreen we can use. Why don't you walk us through some options?
Well, I love our model here. She's wearing some cool athletic clothing, which is UPF 50. And the nice thing is that when you do wear clothing that has sun protection in it, you don't have to reapply. It's great for water activity. She's got a floppy hat. Don't forget the sunglasses because you need to protect your eyes. Ultraviolet radiation can increase your risk of cataracts as well.
Okay.
And then we've got some really great sunscreens on the table.
So many sunscreens, so little time. I like the fact that they're getting better and better. So for brown and black women, I'm looking for something without a cast.
Yes.
I want something that I can reapply. Walk us through the options here, or what do you love?
Well, I mean, there's a bunch here that I love, but if I looked at this block right here, we've got some mineral sunscreens. So they tend to be better for people who are who have sensitive skin, maybe eczema or prone to breakouts.
Okay.
You can get ones that are pigmented because tinted because they can leave a bit of a gray cast, so they may not be quite as as cosmetically acceptable.
Yeah.
If you look at the middle block here, we've got these mix of chemical and mineral sunscreens, so it's got a blend of those ingredients.
Yeah.
They tend to be a bit more cosmetically acceptable. I love this Black Girl sunscreen. We were kind of playing around with it earlier. It's a gel lotion texture, so it spreads on really nicely.
It goes on so nicely. So the one that I know is a fan favorite is Supergoop.
That's right.
So I've been seeing the Supergoop. The way the Supergoop comes on is a gel, and so this is very similar. The Black Girl sunscreen. Seen it all over Instagram. Wanted to try it, and then you came along and brought it to studio. So thank you, Dr. Yadav.
Love it.
So good. Okay, so you really love this one.
I love this. We carry this one in our clinic. It's a chemical sunscreen. I find it's cosmetically really nice. It goes on evenly, and it has a bit of a durability to it, so it stays on for quite long during the day.
Beautiful.
But people always complain about, well, I've got makeup on, and then what am I going to do? How do I reapply every 2 hours?
Yes.
And so I brought in a couple of products that have, they're a bit more of like a powder finish or a spray finish. So you've got products that are much easier to reapply after about 2 hours.
Very good. All right, just over to Amanda now. Have you changed your routine since this diagnosis? Are you doing things differently?
I tell you, like, that look is my whole look. Like, I've made sun protection my personality. It's like SPF in the morning, SPF in the car, hats. It's not worth it. I want nothing else cut off me, you know?
I hear you. The goals, girl, goals. Let's go to break. Thanks